recording this.
This is
The king.
Wow.
oh my god.
Steph, would you like to sit in the middle?
Hey guys, it's Captain Harris, and I'm here with Logan and James to chat about the new Iron Maiden album, Senjutsu, set to come out September 3rd of 2021 this year, and we're all very excited. It has been, according to Logan's research, 2,191 days, or 5 years, 11 months, and 30 days, excluding the end date, since the Book of Souls was released. So
Wow.
that is a very long time. According to a Kerrang article that came out about this with Bruce interviewed, it was obviously supposed to come out much earlier, so it's nice that we are finally getting this new album. Alright, so the contents of the album, we've got 10 songs, 7 with Steve Harris credits, 4 with Adrian Smith credits, 3 Bruce Dickinson credits, 2 Yannick Gers credits, nothing from Murray, and of course nothing from Nico, because Nico has only ever credited with the one single song, New Frontier. So I had written down a lot of different songs that were penned by the same people from some of these songs on the album, and some thoughts that I'm having on like excitement levels and stuff like that. So before I get into that, is there any specific songs off the album that you are most interested in hearing, or?
Probably looking at the notes.
I know one right off the top of my head.
Go on then.
Go on.
It's Death of the Celts.
Death of the Celts.
We're looking at, for this album, 4 Steve Harris written songs, which hasn't been done in a long time.
First time since X Factor that no Dave. First time since Virtual 11, multiple Harris solo songs.
So since X Factor, multiple Harris solo songs. 4
So-
in fact, and they're all long.
Oh, very long. 3 of them are over 10 minutes, and
The
one.
shortest one is 9.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite impressive from Mr. Harris
And
on this one.
I was gonna say that other notable Steve Harris songs, I've only included stuff from the post-reunion because that's the Maiden that we're living with now, you know, it's not like Power Slave era anymore, so it's like the Maiden that we have now. Steve Harris penned songs from Brave New World to now include The Red and the Black, When the Wild Wind Blows, For the Greater Good of God, No More Lies, and Blood Brothers, and all of those are bangers in my opinion. So I'm very much looking forward
So
to
is
it.
that all the songs that he wrote on his own? The
I
post-reunion?
believe so. Some of these I didn't write every single song because there was a lot.
Those are his solo
Yeah.
contributions.
Well, all of those are bangers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah,
I'm very
they're
excited.
quite impressive.
They
And
are.
what's the longest one? The Parchment. I think that's the one that
Parchment.
I'm eyeing up the most. Like obviously you can't be like
12:39.
Oh, yeah, I'm the most excited for this song, and I have no idea what it's gonna sound like. You know?
I'm just going off what I can guess is the theming of something like Death of the Celts is such a cool, like classic Maiden sounding title,
Yeah.
and you can
A lot of
just-
history in it, yeah.
Exactly, and I think it's going to be one of the most epic songs, especially what was said about it in the Kerrang article.
The Kerrang article I thought was very... I wasn't expecting it.
It was really good.
Very in-depth.
There was a lot of information, which I have taken some notes also to, you know, kind
Keep
of
you guys up to speed, because I know you guys aren't spending as much time on this.
not nearly as much.
as some people
I
are.
have been
As we
wasting
are.
so much time every day thinking about this shit.
But just to continue down the same road, so what we have 2 Smith and Dickinson songs.
Yeah.
One that we've already heard.
Yeah.
This is,
The other one would be the Days of Future Past, the X-Men song.
Okay.
And that's the shortest song on the album too. And isn't Darkest Hour Smith and Dickinson?
Let's see here. Darkest Hour is also Smith and Dickinson, a solid 720.
Yeah, so I'm
Okay.
thinking that Days of Future Past is probably going to be one of their bangers, you know, like
Like a
just
Rainmaker.
Like an
something
Alchemist
that.
or Rainmaker.
yeah.
type thing.
And others to note that I really like in previous years from Smith and Dickinson is there really wasn't much. I noted Speed of Light and Death or Glory. Both of those are like good.
Great live songs.
Yeah,
Great
great
live
live songs. So obviously, I'm sure we'll get the writing on the wall on the next tour, even before
I have to imagine,
even
too.
before the Senjutsu
Since
tour.
we brought up the writing on the wall, we've had a little bit of time to digest it. Have we any new thoughts on the song?
He's obsessed with it now.
No, I mean, I find myself humming it. I find myself singing it randomly. So, I mean, it's doing exactly what I expected.
I haven't stopped since it came out. Like every day, I'm just like,
Yeah.
can you see
It's just good. Like, it's one of those things where I'm never disappointed
Mhm.
with New Maiden. It's always a base level of, yeah, I like this. This is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can always be exceeded. Like
Oh, yeah.
I can always say like, oh wow, Red and the Black. That really goes up here.
Yeah, it's funny because when I first heard the Red and the Black, I was just like, this sounds like it could have been like 3 different songs, and now I'm like, no way, it's perfect
Yeah, you
just the
can't
way
cut
it
this
is. Like you can't cut it up. So,
So
it's
I-
like completely changed my view.
And that's the
on
thing,
it.
if that's what Harris does,
Mhm.
and I'm getting 4 of those. I mean, and then Bruce is so convincing in Kerrang about how much he loves this record.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
said that it could be played in its entirety live, and I was like, let's pull another Matter of Life and Death if it's a good album.
If it's that good
Yeah.
and it needs it, then let's do it. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
If it's that good, like, I don't think they could have pulled off Book of Souls. I know
Yeah.
No.
they kind of talk about it lightly, but it was. I don't think it was realistic.
I think that they played everything that kind of deserved to be played off that album. When they added The Great Unknown in the second leg of the tour,
so
that was
good.
great.
So good.
And something I wanted to note that I noticed from the Kerrang article is Bruce said that Steve would lock himself away for days. Bruce said he's detailed and meticulous in exactly what he wants, and that just makes you really, get excited over those songs, because it's just like, just hearing that he just locks himself away. You want to know what like his creative process is, and just like what's going on. And
I have to
everything.
imagine because they say they also state in the interview, and like we've also heard this, is that a lot of it was written on the spot.
Yeah, they just went in.
And if the last thing that they were doing together was the first leg of Legacy,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean it's pretty. I mean I would say almost a unanimous that like everyone likes the Legacy set list, the show. So if that's the sort of mind frame that we're in, 81 minutes of that.
But at the same time, you could say that about previous albums. I mean,
I guess, yeah.
right after Somewhere Back in Time, they recorded Final Frontier. Right after Made in England, they recorded Book of Souls.
Mhm.
I don't find it connects that much. It always seems to be a brand new thing with a brand new theme. and
Brand new thing,
sound.
but
yeah.
I'm glad to see that they haven't diminished the quality, though.
No,
And
and I will say that just because I've listened to Writing on the Wall so many times now, I think the mix is a lot better than anything on Book of Souls.
Yeah, like when you listen to it properly.
Yeah. I mean, Nico's cymbals are starting to stand out to me now. I think Bruce is pitch perfect, and they
There's
mix
a
his
lot of
voice
clarity.
really well.
Really, there's great clarity.
Yeah, they actually put some delay on his voice, which they usually just go in dry.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good sign for the new album, I think. I think that it'll probably be better production-wise.
I hope so, because that's what's really been lacking. Like ever since, I mean, a lot of people say like Brave New World was the last great sounding,
Yeah.
not great album, but great sounding.
Mhm.
I think Dance to Death sounded really good.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lost
it was
Singer-
very good.
I think
Yeah.
they changed to more of a live sound on Matter of Life and Death.
On
and that
purpose,
worked
yeah.
on that album, but after that, it kind of stayed that way
Mhm.
to where it didn't match perfectly. Like Final Frontier, I feel like was a bit dry
Mhm.
for the theming. I feel like it should have been a bit more atmospheric and
Mhm.
wet sounding, you know?
Wet. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, so if we are going to move on to like the next credits and other songs that have been involved, Stratego, is that how it's pronounced? I forget. Well, I sent it to
I
you. and
believe it is
forgot.
pronounced strategery.
Stratego.
So Stradivarius.
The Time Machine was written by Yannick and Steve.
That sounds very Anakin Steve.
The
I
Time
know,
Machine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And others to know, I double underlined the Book of Souls because that's one of my favorite. Between that and Red and the Black, those are my 2 favorite on the last album. I love that song. It was my favorite on the first listen. Shadows of the Valley, The Talisman, The Pilgrim, The Legacy, Dance of Death, Dream of Mirrors, which I also think that Blaze Bayley had a credit on, but it wasn't credited on the
I can
album.
see that definitely being a Blaze song.
Yeah, and then Mercenary, and all of those songs were like great. So I do have some high hopes. And how long are those?
Well,
Long enough.
The Time Machine, 7 minutes and 9. So that's about Talisman.
Yeah.
And then where are we here? And then Strategery, about 4:59, so 5 minutes. So good. Like
Yeah.
that's enough. And
A Dance of Death, a Talisman.
yeah, like I mean, if that is the realm of where we're at, come on now.
It
Yeah.
looks good.
It's
It
looking,
looks real good.
looking
We're
real
looking
nice.
good. I mean,
All right, and the Smith-Harris opener of the album, the title track Senjutsu.
Title track, 820.
Other notable songs written by those two are The Great Unknown, When the River Runs Deep, Isle of Avalon, which is one of my favorites off the Final Frontier, Different World, Passchendaele, Mother of Mercy, and The Fallen Angel. So,
Great.
And something I thought was interesting is the last two albums, there have been no more than 2 writing credits per song. Like on the Final Frontier, like there would be like Smith, Harris, Dickinson, but there was no more than 3 or 2 people per song on the last 2 albums, which I thought was kind of interesting.
And I think something interesting about this album that I haven't even seen before is that on this album, the title song is the opening track.
Yeah.
They don't have an album that does that. I mean, Caught Somewhere in Time. Meh.
I mean, it's on the border. I would give it to them. I would give it to them, sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
It's rare.
It's usually at the end of side A or at the beginning of side B, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Personally, my 2 favorite songwriters in Maiden are Smith and Harris. So for them to combine, like,
well, that's how Passchendaele got written.
yeah, like that's
epic.
That's what I want. I want the sort of like traditional rock flavor that Adrian has. And then
With the prog thrown on top.
yeah, and then I just want Steve to just absolutely just massacre me with like melodies out the ass, and then these strong
60
bass
verses. And
yeah, 64 verses, 12 choruses. That's enough.
Well, speaking of the sound on the album, on the Kerrang article, Bruce described the sounds as shades of prog, folk, blues, and soundtrack influences, and all of those are pretty exciting.
I think the soundtrack influences.
Yeah.
I was very caught
Yeah.
by like that. Like I'm just picturing more like bombastic, like
Lord of the
huge-
Rings.
Yeah, like
Very
I'm trying to picture like this stage show where just like these like dramatic light rigs and flashing bips and bobs as the that's what they say, right? Bips and bobs, is that a thing?
Bits and
Bits and
bobs.
bobs.
Oh, sorry.
No, bloody hell.
Oh, bips and bobs. Oh, bips and bobs. Anyway, Caddyshack. Is that a term?
Is that a song?
Is that a song? Is Caddyshack on that list?
Next album.
Next album?
Next album.
Watch this space.
Watch this.
September 4th, 2026.
Nine.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I'm throwing dates
Somewhere.
Man,
somewhere in time.
you heard it here now.
Yeah.
2029.
Screw those other bands leaking it. I'm leaking it right now.
So not to skip into it, but do you think we have another album after this one?
Oh, 100%.
Me too.
Me too.
I'm so excited for the next one.
I know. Like it feels like if they're this jazzed.
Jazz, dude.
Yeah, but they don't have something to be jazzed about every
Yeah.
time.
And in the article, he was saying like he's just been so bored and watched everything on Netflix, and it's just like, you know. And Steve, I heard Steve say like retirement's for pottering about in the garden. I don't want that. So it's really all just going to depend on where they are at the time. Like I've seen so many people so worried that oh my god, this is going to be the last album. They're going to retire soon. I even saw somebody saying that even with the album coming out, the Legacy of the Beast tour is going to be their last tour. I'm like, what? Bruce is in the article saying they would like to play the like entire album. So, like,
Yeah.
Now, I would like to raise a point on not retirement, but a segue into the mindset of retirement. Dave Murray, no writing credits for the first time since X Factor, which is not a problem, but similar outputs from members, notable Murray is absent, ending a solid run of getting at least one piece of material on an album. But his last, I would say, great song was Brieg, which was 15 years ago. And even, like that's... Does Dave have it? And I mean this, like, with all, like, sort of, like, is there just so much creativity coming out of Dickinson, Smith, Harris, and now Yannick?
I don't think that they've ever leaned on Dave for ideas or music in any way. I just think Dave will sometimes come in with this idea and then Steve will incorporate it into
I
something.
thought no idea for that, Steve.
Well, that's what I thought about. I thought about when they did the Tim's Party listening shenanigans.
They made that joke.
They made that joke that he doesn't really write that often, and when he does, it's just like, here's a riff, here's a melody, here's a solo. What should
But
I
who's
do
to
with
say
it?
that he didn't write something, but it just didn't stand up to what was on the album?
Yeah.
He could have definitely come
Sure,
up
he
with
writes
something.
solos and stuff.
Oh, I'm sure he does that, but yeah, like, I just find it notable that in those years since, like, Man Who Would Be King, I'm like, that's okay. Like, Man of Sorrow, that's okay. Like
Charlotte the Harlot.
Charlotte the Harlot, yeah,
That's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay.
Like, but like Brie, I think was like very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is that just where Dave is?
I think so.
I think his off time is his retirement time, and then he just kind of his vacation is going.
His
on
Hawaii
tour.
5-0 time?
Yeah.
I always just joke to James, like, he gets off tour, and then he just walks on the beach, gets one of those mirrors, suns himself, and then he just is there until the phone rings, and I'm like, alright, meet up for rehearsals, and then he closes it open.
Now,
His beeper goes off.
do you think his ringtone is, like, what would you say Dave Murray's ringtone
Charlotte
is?
the Harlot.
Because, well, so Charlotte the Harlot, but for some reason I have this thought, Dave Murray sunning himself on the beach, and it's actually the ringtone that Austin Powers has for when Basil calls. He's like, Smallwood. He's like, Murray, time to come back. And he goes, okay. And then like,
All right then.
if any of the members of this ever watch this, hey.
I sure hope not.
I hope they do watch this.
Why?
I don't know, because
We're
they're
talking
bored.
about him sunning himself on the
Yeah.
So that they can do no more
Yeah.
than just whisper on stage, it's them.
That one.
Get him out!
Get her out. That one. The one with the dolls.
She's already creepy enough as it is.
Get her out. Get her out.
Sick of Peter.
Who knows what she's gonna say next?
Yeah, Peter just.
Anyways.
Anyway, so back to strategery.
Alright, so I wrote down, like, what are you guys' thoughts on the album cover? Like, you know, I've heard so many mixed things on it. I think it's really grown on me. At first I was like, I don't know. I don't know if this feels like an Iron Maiden cover, but now that it's like sat for 5 days
Mhm.
on, like, it's obviously all over my Facebook, my Instagram, that's all my social media has
Mhm.
been. It's just the art from the album. Like, I really like it.
Professor Tucker?
Well, I could say the same thing about Book of Souls, because Book of Souls was kind of a departure from, you know, the Final Frontier cover was very intricate,
Mm-hmm.
and then going into Book of Souls, the emphasis was all on Eddie,
Mhm.
and again, it seems like the same kind of thing where we're emphasizing Eddie, and it's extremely detailed,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not much else to go off of, so I think we're just in a new era with covers,
Yep.
and it may continue for even another album where it's all emphasized on the Eddie, but who knows? But I think it looks really cool. I mean, there's
Mhm.
not a whole lot to go off of
And
just
if
on
you'll
it. but-
notice in the promo pics for like the LPs, you can see little bits of what's on the inside, and I think it's gonna be like what it was like for the Book of Souls, like when you open it up and it was like the jungle and the temple, and
With
that's
Eddie in the heart.
and
the
that's
knife.
what the
Yeah.
stage was based off of, and I think that's what they're setting this up for as well. Is the inside is what you're gonna
Yeah, they're deliberately
expect
not showing
with what their stage setup and everything. So
I mean, I'm excited for the stage show. I similar thought, yeah. Like when I first saw the music video Eddie, I thought, all right, like weird, kind of cartoony, but then he's a lot more mature
Yeah,
in like
a bit darker.
He's a bit darker. I am in the camp of I think Eddie with actual eyeballs is a little bit odd.
Does he have eyeballs?
Like they're not like that sort of like blackness with like a sort of glow. Like they seem a little bit more like concentrated.
Right.
That was like what Book of Souls was. He had
Kind of, yeah. He had like
red orbs.
red orbs. But then when someone edited the killer's face onto,
I am so sick of that. Like the Wrath of the Waters thing was literally just like the killer's face pasted on that
Mhm.
that card, and then the one that somebody edited was just the killer's face pasted on. It's
I was like-
it has to look different. It can't just be
but I
killer's Eddie.
looked at it, I was like, yeah, a bit more like that. But that's just me just being sort of like a traditionalist of like, I like it when Eddie looks like the same thing that everyone was like, I want Derek to come back. But then I look at what Derek is doing with Eddie today, I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want Derek to
Yeah.
come back.
I mean, if we're gonna nitpick, like I'm not a huge fan of his crocodile teeth.
They're not
Or-
okay. A lot of people have had and taken
This is
issue with
offensive,
this.
okay.
No, a lot of people have taken issue with this.
Breaking news.
And it's, I believe, inspired after Japanese Oni, which is a type of mythical ogre or demon. And if you look up Oni masks, they all have these type of teeth, either coming out of the bottom or the top. I'll show you some pictures later.
So it's not a crocodile smile.
No, it's Oni. It's more Japanese lore because this is
Stop.
a Japanese themed album. One thing I don't like is there's another Eddie face that's been coming out on T-shirts and stuff. And I almost bought a T-shirt, and then I saw this Eddie on the back It was the Samurai Eddie without his helmet. I don't know, it looked like somebody just ripped his wig off and.
Oh, like where like he's like the flare thing coming out.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like that.
Well,
one
I'll tell you
much.
now. No.
That,
Sorry.
That completely turned me off of buying that shirt because it's like it had it had the front cover of the album and a red circle. I'm like, this is really cool. I went to buy it and I saw the back. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I didn't like it very much.
I would pay good money for was it what's the EMP? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The black and gold.
Yes.
I would pay
cool.
good money for that in the United States. I'd also pay good money if it had just like on the front, just like where it's like I think they have this one released where it just says Iron Maiden as a pocket, and then it has the album credit in Japanese, and then the back print.
Yeah.
Like I pay solid money.
They got really cool stuff on
All the
EMP.
money.
I wouldn't pay $450 for it.
Speaking of $400.
Speaking of $450,
Nobody's happy about that box set price. But
the new box set coming to you. Asterisk.
If you pull
Coming
all of
to
your
you.
money together with your family,
I'm not getting it because I'm not a collector and I would just rather save the money for the tour. Logan's like, screw it, I'm getting it.
I'll
So
take 5.
Why not? I'll take them all.
take them and honk them. Don't say that, you'll piss people off.
Oh, he said he's going to do focus on eBay. I assume that's what they all sound like. That's what I assume you all sound like. Even the ones of you I've met, you all sound like.
They do sound like that.
I love that we do this more so you can get your facts out, and then for me and James too, as they say, take the piss.
Well, I just like talking about this stuff. You know, I read so much on the forum, I read so much online. It's nice to just kind of like word vomit with you guys, just get it all out of my head. So
Well, I'll just say right now, me and Logan really look up to you.
Yeah, they put me in the really high chair, and I wasn't very happy about it. But we don't have even chairs right now, so we have to deal with
We
that.
all have different chairs. In fact. I have a beer holder.
So
Look, don't worry. Everyone has a different way to view the world. But I would like you to know that when you see the simple things, to appreciate this life. It's not too late to learn, especially when you're in that big chair.
why can't you just treat me with more respect and a shake of the hand?
I don't want to be here.
Then go.
It's no place I'd rather be. Feeling more confused.
The more the days go by.
The Rolodex of life? Is that what the fucking
You are
name is?
going to have to edit so much shit, Logan.
It's fine. This video is only 24 minutes long.
Well, another interesting thing is, in the article, Bruce said he wanted a movie-style premiere in a cinema for the music video of The Writings on the Wall, but obviously had to compromise, and that's when they came up with Belshazzar's Feast and the whole internet thing that they did. So I thought that was pretty interesting, though it would have been really cool to go through with his original idea.
It would be cool if it was like a worldwide thing, like a Flight 666, where
Yeah.
like, you didn't know what it was, but you could go to your local cinema and say, one ticket for that, and
And then we would be the only ones in there because worldwide, how many Iron Maiden fans are going to go to
I remember going
Orlando?
to see Flight 666 in theaters. The local, here in the States, we have FYE, is like another record store, like a Best Buy. And they had a booth set up. If you went, you got a free patch, like an iron-on patch for Flight 666. You got like all this memorabilia. I go into the theater, I get there early, so like I want a good seat. Only one in the theater.
That's what I mean. It's like if they
Like-
did that, it would either be
Yeah.
1, 2, or no people showing up because it's like if it's worldwide. But if it was like if he planned to do something like at Shepherd's Bush, like where he was recording all that stuff, then yeah, obviously people would fly in for
Well, it's
that.
like if you remember a little bit ago, we went to see Slayer's movie, and we were in there with maybe 4 other people.
Yeah, that was like a Slayer movie.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently only Bruce and Steve have the finished mix. Management didn't even have one. Steve has a copy on one laptop and one is locked away. So I thought that was pretty interesting that like.
Did you read that when Kerrang listened to it, they had to listen to it on a master LP?
Yes, because they said it's pretty hard to leak 3 LPs to the public.
But they clearly weren't happy with Book of Souls being leaked, so they're
Yeah.
doing everything they can to mitigate that again.
I don't know who would ever listen to a leaked album. Certainly not me.
You know what? You got on
We
my ass.
genuinely did
You
that.
got on my ass for listening to the leaked Nightwish album, and then you're like, "Oh, well, I listened to the Book of Souls a week early," so it's like I can smack you.
I can't confirm that those words ever left
Confirm
my,
or deny.
my fingers.
Well, I have the screenshots. I have the receipts. Is there anything else? It's not a concept record. A lot of people were kind of hoping for that.
So it's not a concept album.
They said
it's not a live album.
absolutely not
It's
a
not in
concept
Japanese.
album.
It's not in Japanese.
We don't know that yet.
Oh shit.
We haven't seen the lyrics.
You're right. We haven't seen the lyrics yet, but I think I have a feeling that they might mostly be in English.
Yeah. The only other thing that I've got written on here is they wrote down a line of the lyrics from Stratego, "Teach me the art of war." So that's a line that comes out of that song, and
How
then
do you think that
Can you sing it to me?
Yeah.
can you sing it to me?
No, like I want to hear your version. I'll sing my
Yeah.
version.
I'm not.
Was it teach me the art?
Teach me the art of war.
Yeah, go ahead. Just like give me like a vocal melody.
I'm not.
You can just like.
Please don't make me.
Well, let's just go across the line.
All right, go ahead.
What was it?
Teach me the art of war.
Line.
B-roll.
Teach me the art of war.
Whoa, like a pause.
Pause, big pause.
I think it's gonna be like a teach me the art of war. Oh.
Step.
Teach me the art of war.
Teach me the art of war.
I'm the last.
Beautiful. Well, I mean, technically, let's take a look. Who wrote that song? Boom. It's a Yannick and Steve, so it's definitely.
for sure.
So it's gonna have a little bit of a.
Are y'all done?
I can guarantee you, Steve's face is gonna be like this, and Dave's face is gonna be like.
And he'll get down on the
He'll do the thing, and then
Yeah, the guitar shimmy.
he'll
Check
do
the
the
knobs.
check the knobs. They're still
Windmill
there.
arm.
Windmill arm.
And then can you do Adrian's face for me?
No.
It's just.
Gonna do some of this one. And Nico's face. Beautiful. Well
Yeah,
done.
the arms. Yeah.
Yeah.
How will Yannick be moving? Brilliant. All right.
Is that everybody except Bruce? You think he'll be flying over the monitors? Or you think his days
Ooh.
are
His
done doing
Achilles
that?
will be back in shape.
Now, well, here's the thing, and his hips.
Yeah, he's got new hips.
Is this a mic stand song, or is this a right hand, left hand doing a lot of this action?
A little bit of Fozzie in
A
there.
bit. Oh,
I think it's a dance to death.
oh it's a jig.
Yeah, it's a
some of that jig. Do you think his hips are oiled for that?
I do. He's got a brand new hip, man. And he said he was walking like the day after he got it replaced. So,
It's got to take it slow.
well, I mean, he's been taking it slow for the past year. Everybody's been taking it slow for the past
Got to
year.
speed it up.
The only thing left that I have written down, so
Uh-oh.
we've
This
got
is the big one.
we've got 30 minutes here, so we've got to cut this down.
Yeah, we
the
do.
Last thing I have is that they wrote down that "Death of the Celts" is an enormous song.
I told you.
That like people will name their children after that. They'll
Yeah.
say,
Little
they'll say,
Death.
"Hey, come here, Death."
Little Kelty.
Yeah,
Death of the Celt.
yeah.
So yeah, that's all I've got for you. So
People get married to that song. People will brush their teeth to that song.
I know you.
They're gonna end the worldwide pandemic of gingivitis by having people brush their teeth to the length of that. Like it's like the toothbrush that have like the song.
You're not gonna have any gums left.
Well, for the greater good of gums. I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah, they could sell that song.
For the greater good of gums.
Ah,
Dental health.
I think
Do
this is a great place to end our video before these two just keep having their.
Dental health. Dental health, personal hygiene. No one wants to come back to touring and being next to smelly people with bad breath.
Brush your teeth.
Brush your teeth, wear deodorant. It gets hot out there in the summer and we don't want to smell you.
But we'll probably have to anyways.
Smell you later.
Smell you later.
Oh my god. God.
She did it all on her own.
Jazzed.